Live from Television Park, this is Fort Wayne's NBC News at 11.
$400,000
He said he's
a
going
year.
to repeal the Trump tax cut.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well, wait.
I'm speaking.
It'd be important if you said the truth. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. That was tax cuts that gave the average working family $2,000 in a tax break every single year. Senator,
that is absolutely not true.
The one and only vice presidential debate wrapping up just moments ago between Republican Vice President Mike Pence and Democratic candidate Kamala Harris. Good evening, everyone. I'm Linda Jackson. My partner Tom Powell has the night off. Tonight's debate between the vice president and the senator, 90 minutes, covering a range of topics from the pandemic to transparency to the president's pick for the nation's highest court. The opponents took to the stage and they were separated by a plexiglass barrier and some 12 feet. Tonight's debate was more civil, if you will, than the first presidential debate. Both candidates had a lot to say about the pandemic this evening, with Senator Harris criticizing President Trump for his response and Vice President Pence striking back with Joe Biden's response to the swine flu when he was vice president.
But this administration stood on information that if you had as a parent, if you had as a worker, knowing you didn't have enough money saved up, and now you're standing in a food line because of the ineptitude of an administration that was unwilling to speak the truth to the American people.
If the swine flu had been as lethal as the coronavirus in 2009, when Joe Biden was vice president, we would have lost 2 million American lives. His own chief of staff, Ron Klain, would say last year that it was pure luck that they did, quote, everything possible wrong. And we learned from that.
Once again, tonight's debate is the only one between these two candidates, and a reminder this evening that the second presidential debate between President Trump and Democratic candidate Joe Biden is Thursday, October 15th. Right now, I want to introduce Republican 3rd District Congressman of Indiana, Jim Banks, who joins me live in the studio with a reaction to tonight's debate. Congressman Banks, what would you call the strongest point of how your candidate, Vice President Pence, performed in the debate tonight?
Well, first and foremost, this was a very solid debate. Both candidates articulated the vision for America on behalf of their candidate very well. Those are two very different visions for America, and that's what Vice President Pence did so well. He talked about the hope America forward on behalf of the Trump administration, which contrasts so much with the fear and fear-mongering that you heard from Kamala Harris on behalf of the Biden campaign. There couldn't have been a bigger difference between the two. I was so proud of Mike Pence, who is a man of integrity, someone who we know so well in Northeast Indiana. He's a man who brings dignity to the debate. Dare I say, Linda, he looked awfully presidential this evening as well. He did a great job of talking about the Trump record, which has been a very successful record over the last 4 years for America.
Was there anything that perhaps he did not get the opportunity to discuss that you wish he'd had the opportunity?
Well, you heard a couple of times the give and take about the contradictions of the Biden campaign. When he asked Kamala Harris point blank, will Joe Biden and Kamala Harris stack the court? And Harris, just like Joe Biden last week in the presidential debate, refused to answer that question. You get a sense here that you've got one side of the coin who's speaking out of both sides of their mouth on issues like that, from issues like that to fracking. You heard contradictions on the part of Harris and Biden tonight on their true stances on fracking. I thought Mike Pence did very well at driving home that the Biden record doesn't necessarily match the campaign rhetoric. What are we going to get if Biden and Harris are in the White House? We don't entirely know, but we do know that ticket is drifting further and further to the radical left, while Mike Pence and Donald Trump are putting American workers first, putting the American economy first, rebuilding our military, getting us out of endless wars. I thought there was quite a contrast between the two visions.
Well, Congressman Banks, thank you for stopping by. We always appreciate the time you take. Thank you.
Great to be with you.
The Democratic candidate in the 3rd District race is Chip Coldiron of Ossian, and I spoke with him via Zoom earlier this evening, right after the debate wrapped, and I asked him about Senator Kamala Harris's performance in the debate.
She said that her and Joe Biden are going to have a plan to help get this pandemic under control, that they're going to follow the science, unlike our current representative Banks and our current president, and that we're going to get through this together as a country, and we're going to come together as a country as well. We're going to stop pointing fingers. We're going to stop trying to brew up social injustice and social problems. We're going to come together as one, and we're going to get through this pandemic and come together stronger in the end.
Do you think her performance tonight provided a boost for the former vice president in his campaign?
Absolutely. I think she totally shown what kind of leadership we're going to have here in the next 4 years, starting on January the 20th, and the fact that our current leadership has failed us, not only in the White House, but representatives like Representative Banks, who makes excuses for our president and his failures. So she absolutely did a strong performance there and shown that we are going to have some very strong leadership here coming up in January.
And right now, we continue to focus on the debate by talking with leaders of political organizations in the fort to get their reaction to tonight's vice presidential debate. Fort Wayne's NBC reporter Louis Tran joining me live in studio right now. And Louis, I understand you talked with leaders of the League of Women Voters as well as Count Us In.
Yeah, Linda, that's correct. Both groups tell me tonight's debate was a lot calmer compared to the presidential debate. Tonight, I talked with the League of Women Voters of Fort Wayne. It's a nonpartisan political group that aims to educate people about the government. Sharon Howe of the group tells me tonight's debate was informative, but there was one thing that stood out to her. Both Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris often did not directly answer their questions.
They both kept going back to a script. They had certain talking points they wanted to get across, and they made sure every opportunity they could that they got those messages back in.
I do think there was quite a bit of question dodging, which I guess is to be expected in these platforms, unfortunately, when they get at a larger scale. But it was easier for people to decipher what the stances were, but it is kind of hard for voters to follow what questions, since a lot of them went off on tangents.
Count Us In is also a nonpartisan nonprofit that tries to educate people about voting. More specifically, they say they also try to help voices who are suppressed. Tonight's vice presidential debate is the only one scheduled, but the next presidential debate is scheduled for next Thursday.
All right, Louis, thank you. Tonight, the Fort Wayne protest group Changemakers held a campaign event to introduce a local election candidate to people on the south side of town. That virtual event held at Unity Barbershop, and 3rd District congressional candidate Democrat Chip Coldiron, who you did hear from a few moments ago, was there. Again, he is Congressman Jim Banks' opponent. Event organizers say they felt it was important for minorities to get to know him as a candidate.
By bringing the candidates into the barbershop, or a place where there's a lot of communication and a lot of issues, it gives the candidate an ability to answer those questions, and then it gives us an idea of what we're actually voting for.
I need to learn what it's like to live in Fort Wayne, learn what it's like from different people's perspectives, from an African American's perspective about what they go through on a daily basis and things like that, and how we can come together as a society and live together in peace.
Tonight's event covered several topics, including job growth, police brutality, and health care and access to it. Organizers say they would like to hold more of these events with other candidates. Early voting began yesterday in the Hoosier State, and according to our election board in Allen County, voting numbers have been record-breaking. Election board officials say more than 1,300 people stood in line at the Coliseum to cast their ballots. That's more than twice the number of first-day voters last election. Also, the new temporary headquarters at the Coliseum allows for better social distancing. Also today, the first day for Souls to the Polls, offering voters on the city's south side free rides to the Coliseum. The service will be available the following 2 Wednesdays at 2 locations, including the Fort Wayne Urban League. We stopped by there today, where people boarded that charter bus you see. They say determined to make it to the polls. And for more information about this service, call Councilwoman Sharon Tucker at the number you see on your screen, 260-447-2769. And remember to stay with Fort Wayne's NBC News as we continue to cover the election. You can find the latest information on Decision 2020 on our website, fortwaynesnbc.com, as well as on air and on social media.